Monday. It is a good Monday because Microsoft is going to solve all your math problems in Edge now. So.
I don't have a problem with this feature per se. I mean, why would I? Well, actually, here's why I would. And people are starting to complain about this kind of thing. Edge is tilting dangerously toward Teams territory when it comes to these little features, you know. This one's not enabled by default, so you have to go in and turn on, and that's fine too, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't remember what it was anymore, but there was a feature they had, maybe collections or one of those kind of big features. It's like, would this be better solved with an extension? I don't know. So solve math problems in Edge. It's why would you use a calculator app when you can do it right in the browser?
I don't know. I still use Excel for even basic math problems, so
it looks interesting. I don't need it, but that's okay.
Yeah. What does look interesting is I've actually read your hands-on with Android 12. We are in that time of the year where I'm using an iPhone and going, gosh, if Android just had an iMessage.
Yeah. So on the flip side, I will say, and this is something I sort of thought about writing about, but it comes up from time to time. Like, I don't know if it's like some weird self-destructive part of my personality or whatever it is, but no, I mean, like, just as a technology enthusiast, like, I feel like I can kind of be all over the map,
Yeah.
Like, one day I'll wake up, I'm writing about, like, the Apple TV thing right now, for example. Like, so, over the year, just since Thurrott.com has been a thing, I've used Apple TV, various Rokus, various Fire TVs, and now Chromecast with Google TV. And if the new remote that they ship separately from the new Apple TV works out, like, I might just go back to Apple TV. Like, I'm always rethinking things and, going back and forth. I do it with browsers. I do it with everything. I mean, always retesting, always rethinking, There's some stuff I really, really like about iOS 14, the X, .x, right? The new look, the kind of Big Sur style look with the rounded rectangles. The new widgets, I think, are very interesting and not 100% there. You can almost get an all apps view and hide stuff, and you can, regardless, hide stuff from the home screen, something you've been able to do on Android forever. Love that. I like the stuff they're doing with privacy, Obviously, if I want, I like the Fitbit I have. What Apple is doing with Apple Watch is very interesting. It requires an iPhone. And so and the camera stuff is great, right? So I kind of go back and forth. Like, I have this problem. And I have to say, like, one of the things I really appreciate about Android 12, even in Beta 1, where this new dynamic UI stuff is not there, is it has calmed that down for a second for me, right? So I saw this and I was like, okay, I can stop thinking about iOS for a little while. like this is, to me, looks really good. So I appreciate that because, again, it's like I'm like pulling myself back from the cliff for once, which is
I'll
good.
happily like push you over that.
I know, yeah. That's the reason I'm standing on the cliff by myself.
What friends are for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice.
I do. Yeah, I think so too.
I like what they're trying to do.
Really curious to see the dynamic wallpaper, auto accenting stuff. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It looks great.
There's something I was going to say something about that. Now I'm completely thrown off.
I'm so sorry. Well, you were talking about you now being Android curious, as we'll call it.
Android curious. This will last right up until I got to buy a new phone, and then it'll be whatever.
Yeah. So you just buy the new iPhone. So,
it's just different.
Well, there's no reason to screw with things that work, and that's the constructive bit that I'm talking about. I wish I could get over this,
Oh, I now remember. So, this is going to go down as a legendary statement or whatever.
Okay.
It might be a little off my numbers here. I'm trying to remember the Twitter thread, but it was Apple's App Store last year had more revenue than I think the entire music industry.
Okay.
And Tim Cook sat on the pedestal in court and said, I don't know if the App Store is profitable. Really? Like,
yeah, so I'm not sure. Probably not going to write about this until we have a verdict or whatever.
Yeah.
I have saved some information. It includes a lot of quotes from him.
Mm-hmm.
My story will be called "Cooked," and
well done.
Yeah, and it's sort of the modern version of "Hoisted by Your Own Petard," I guess we'll call it. But this not for the first time. An executive from a tech company who appears to be very eloquent and caring about his customers in the bright glow of the PR constructed, nicely done videos that they make, looks like a jackass when he gets out in public and has to actually stammer his way through answers to questions that make him a little uncomfortable. We saw that with Microsoft, over 20 years ago now, whenever that was.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Federighi got up there and said, the Mac malware problem is out of control. I'd love to see him say something like that on stage. And by the way, just to talk a little bit about credibility, Microsoft did make a statement like that in public, and then they did the Trustworthy Computing Initiative and fixed it. Rather than, Apple is so used to marketing, the form of marketing where you make something else look like crap that they forget how that doesn't necessarily fly in the real world, And it's like we have this one platform that's really crappy. Oh, and by the way, please feel free to buy one of our new M1-based Macs. But we have this other thing that we're at court for that we locked down, and that one's awesome. Awesome. It's because we locked it down. We know better than you do. We're smarter than you. It's not a good message. But really, Tim Cook's thing was even worse.
Even
worse.
There's no plausible way. You don't have I could understand maybe he doesn't know the exact 32.6%. I can understand that. But you pretty damn well know whether or not you're making money as a $1 trillion company or losing money.
Yes, he's an Embers man, for one thing. Yeah. Remember that. So let's just here's the plausible deniability to that statement. Apple's business units are not as clear-cut as maybe we make them sound, as may appear on the outside. And they, through some financial shenanigans, can draw income from different parts of the company and then accredit it to one thing. And he can say, well, the store we don't have any accounting for that, which of course they do, or I don't see that part of the accounting. I just get the high-level stuff, which is nonsense. But I think that's where he's coming. The App Store is wildly profitable, And then just the questions that the judge asked him were just classic. Yeah. And you can tell, she is coming down on them for this arbitrary 30% thing. And the fact that games, which is the thing in question here, seems to be subsidizing the rest of the App Store, regardless of the fact that the whole App Store is subsidized by hardware, and doesn't understand why Apple wouldn't let its developers communicate with their own customers. It doesn't make any sense. And that's even the gooniest pro-Apple fan in the world has to agree that app developers should be able to communicate with their own customers. I don't care how pro-Apple you are, how you think that this App Store thing is a gift that they give developers, and I don't understand why anyone's, whatever. It's hard to understand anyone not agreeing with that part of it, right? So, we'll see. There's been a lot of commentary during this thing, Apple's probably going to win this one, but, blah, blah. Obviously, there are a lot of other antitrust things. It's win and lose is kind of tough, but I think Apple's going to be making some concessions here. I think it's the way to look at this. So does Epic get everything they want? No, because honestly, that's probably not what Epic wanted. They're going for the throat because they want the key concessions. And I think the important concessions are all going to happen.
Yeah, I'd also just like to point out that Tim Sweeney is far from a hero either. That he made it sound like, hey, I'm doing this for the developers, and then they said in court, said, hey, if Apple would have offered you your own slice that ignored everybody else, would you have taken? He's like, yeah, of course, we wouldn't.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the type of transparent honesty that we did not just get from Tim Cook.
That is true. That is very true.
Tim Sweeney is a billionaire businessman. He has his own app store. You can see what those policies are compared to what Apple does. They don't have any kind of monopoly, but whatever. To me, that just makes them all more credible. It's of course it's a business. I'm not running a charity here, folks.
Right.
This is one of the things you get. It's a lot of sort of self-righteous indignation around this from onlookers, right? People who might read our site or read any site reading about this, and they put these kind of human qualities on companies like they should be ethically, it's unethical. By the way, Amazon just doesn't I just finished that Amazon book.
Yeah.
This trope about how Amazon doesn't pay taxes. It's not true. Amazon gets a tax refund, guys. It's way worse than you think it is.
That's not where I thought you were headed with that.
I know. It's way worse than you think. Mm-hmm. But as Jeff Bezos has said, I don't write the tax laws.
Yeah.
So if you want to fix that, that's not on you. I mean, that's on you. It's not on me. My job is to maximize shareholder value. And one of the ways they do that is by not paying taxes. He didn't say that exactly.
No,
but I mean, but that's
he's not wrong though. Like I tend to agree with it. Like if it exists.
Yep. Exactly. Right. Like in other words, like if Apple gets in trouble in the EU, with Ireland, and I know this has been reversed and could still be appealed again, but let's say Apple owes kind of a billions of dollars in back taxes or whatever. I mean, like who are we blaming there? Are we blaming Ireland or are we blaming Apple? We're going to blame Ireland. I mean, they're the ones that set up this little tax haven for those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Apple would be stupid not to take advantage of that, especially if it's it presented them as a illegal thing to do. I mean, it's the law. Ireland is a sovereign nation of sorts, I guess, within the EU. I don't know how that works exactly legally, but you're going to do. There are things like that in Luxembourg as well.
Yep.
So, yes. Anyway, none of these. Anyone who's that rich, that successful, that up in the stratosphere and their private jets flying around and stuff, they're probably not completely amoral.
Yeah, you gotta slaughter a few pigs to make the bacon.
I just look at what's going on with Bill Gates now. We all thought he was like this kindly grandfather philanthropist. It's like you kind of forgot what the first 50 years of his life were like, I guess.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, interesting stuff.
Really interesting.
Yep.
Kind of like a skewer, just rotating.
That.